All right, so welcome back to Key Point. Now, just for those of you who do not know, the second batch of 13 ministerial nominees announced by President AKOTO. I'm just going to run you through it very quickly. As you see on your screens right now, the Dr. AKOTO, his name was very prominent to be considered for the finance ministry, but we do not know. We know now that Ken Oforiatta is there as a nominee. Monitoring and evaluation ministry. That is a new ministry created, and already questions have been raised as to the mandate of that particular ministry. Dan Boche, regional reorganization. That's also another ministry created, new ministry created. Professor Frimpong Boateng is Science, Environment, Technology and Innovation Minister, nominee for that particular ministry. They become minister designate after going through the vetting process and then eventually confirmed. Now, also becomes a Communications Minister nominee, Joseph Kofi Adda, Sanitation, Water Resources nominee for that particular ministry. Kwesi Amwako Atta, Roads and Highways Minister nominee for that particular ministry as well. Quickly, let's now go to Peter AMEWU, who until now is still the voter regional chairman of the NPP, and he is for the Land and Natural Resources Ministry nominee. ΟΤΙΚΟ, Afisa Jaba, Gender, Children and Social Protection. She still stands as the women's organizer. Now, Atachia, Works and Housing, very well-known legal practitioner, but now Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo says that for him, he sees this man having to be able to perform in that particular ministry. We'll see what Parliament has to say about that eventually. So these are the persons that eventually, after the 26 nominees so far for the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo government, and already questions have been raised as to how many ministries will be having, because we know that regional ministers have not been named. As I've been joined in studio by Isaka Balima Musa, is a country director, country program manager for water sanitation for urban poor Ghana. Now, thank you very much for your time. Good evening to you. Now, how critical is it to have a sanitation ministry to deal with the sanitation situation in this country?
I think, first of all, I must say that we in the sector are very, very happy that this has finally happened, because that has been the call of the sector practitioners to have sanitation ministry established. This will also deepen the lack of, this will address the issue of lack of coordination in the sector that we have complained about for several years now. Naturally, water and sanitation move together.
Okay.
And once you have them together, it will enhance coordination. And also the fact that sanitation ministry has been established would establish the need for more investment. It also demonstrates political will by the government to invest in sanitation. And so we are very happy about this.
No, but then the question will also be that there's been previous governments gone by. There hasn't been a specific sanitation ministry created. Would you say that that did not address or help address this matter effectively than to have a whole ministry to tackle such a situation?
Absolutely, that is the case, because if you look at the figures for now, sanitation figures coverage is around 15%, whilst water figures is around 80%. And so a lack of a dedicated ministry to address sanitation issue could be a reason for that. But that does not mean that the mere fact that a ministry has been established for sanitation is going to answer all the questions. They have demonstrated political will now. We want them to follow it through by pumping in resources into the sector from top to the municipal and district assemblies, and ensuring that there is accountability in the sector, ensuring that enforcement is done, ensuring that all the commitments that they have made during the manifesto period, the campaign period, are actually implemented to the letter.
No, but we already have an environment ministry, and in the previous administration, even though there was no sanitation ministry, there was also a desk under that particular ministry that was dedicated to addressing sanitation issues. So if you have an environment, science, technology, innovation ministry, and you have a sanitation ministry, sanitation is an environment issue, isn't it? So what would be the relevance of creating a whole ministry to tackle a situation when another ministry could have a mandate to do that under its umbrella?
Okay, sanitation is a very broad area. In the previous administration, we've had sanitation fragmented. You have sanitation under the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. You have sanitation under Ghana Education Service, that is school sanitation and related issues. What we hope is that once this sanitation ministry has been established, these would come under the ambit of this ministry. We must also understand that sanitation, it varies in terms of degrees. There are issues that have to do with maritime issues and all that. These could probably fall under the Ministry of Environment as it is. But sanitation in related to handling of fecal matter, solid waste and all that is appropriate to have them under this ministry. That's
how do you see this ministry functioning distinct from the mandate of the local government ministry, which you refer to, which has also had the mandate of tackling such issues of disposing of refuse, in an appropriate way over the period? How does this ministry's function sink into that of the local government ministry and other ministries which will still have the mandate of ensuring sanitation, at various levels?
Yeah, if you look at the local government service structure, all these other ministries have desk or departments represented at the municipal, metropolitan, and district assemblies level. Okay. So in the same vein, this Ministry of Sanitation and Water would have a desk at that level to make sure that the policies formulated at the ministry level, the monitoring being done at the ministry level, is translated to direct service delivery at the municipal, metropolitan, and district assembly levels. What we would want to see the government to add is to establish a sanitation authority.
And what would be the reason for that proposal?
Yes, if you look at water, we have Community Water and Sanitation Agency, which works under the Ministry of Water to ensure that sanitation services are delivered through the district assemblies. They facilitate that. When you come to sanitation, we don't have such an authority that will take the policies that are formulated from the ministry and make sure that they facilitate that delivery at the assembly level. And that's one key important thing that will need to be established for success to be achieved under this. Other countries have done it. If you go to Senegal, they have the owners, which is doing very well. So if you don't have that, if you go to Ministry of Health, for instance, the Ghana Health Service, that ensures that the policies that have been established are implemented through the local government system. So this will be very, very important as a next step.
I look at this, and then already concerns have been raised that there are creation of a lot more ministries, whereas other ministries could have still had the mandate to tackle this. For example, if you had this particular ministry, which you refer to a local government, having deputies who could also handle that, what was wrong with the previous structure of not having a specific ministry deal with a situation like sanitation in this country?
Well, I think that the creation of that ministry itself is to demonstrate that the problem is a serious problem that needs to be tackled. It demonstrates that government wants to prioritize sanitation as an issue and tackle it head on. So for me, that's the kind of prominence that we need for sanitation, and creating a full ministry to address that is in the right direction. Other systems of the previous system worked all right, but I think this is taking it to another level where we have dedication to sanitation.
But you have an expectation. So beyond the creation of this ministry, you would expect that an authority is created under that ministry. So the creation of the ministry is not entirely the solution to the debilitating problem we find with sanitation in this country, is it?
Yeah, it's a first step. We must congratulate the government for doing that. It's a first step, but we need a viable vehicle with technocrats, with expertise, people with expertise to be able to move that. And that's the sanitation authority that we have been fighting for over the years.
Well, let's see how that works out. But I want to thank you, Isaka Balima Musa, as a country programs manager, water sanitation for urban poor, and talking about this creation of this new ministry, specifically in charge of sanitation and water resources, with the nominee being Joseph Kofi Adda. You have high expectations of him in that ministry. But I'm grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. There have already been some concerns also raised about these two other new ministries that have been created. And President AKOTO, this specifically stated that with the law, minimum of 50% of those to be affected by the decision of creation of these new regions have to also come out and vote, and 80 out of the 50 must approve that these new regions should be created. Party are also fulfilled. These are concerns that have been raised. We're going to be subjecting a lot more of these creation of new ministries into a lot more analysis here on TV3. Stay with us here as we get into News 360.